back once again. Game number 3, the final match in this series coming up. And I don't know if we need to delay much further. Breaky, are we just hop right into it here? Any words of encouragement?
I'm gonna go take a quick bath real quickly. Maybe have a nice fine meal before we get into this third game. Nah, screw it. Let's just go into it. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. I'll wait for that. Never mind. Let's go ahead and do this. You know what, guys? I'm here for you, so let's just go ahead and do the game instead.
Delay bathing.
I need my daily massage, but whatever. I guess.
Hey man, don't knock it. I had a massage the other day. It felt great.
It was always good. But no, I'm excited to obviously get into the third game. It's a great series here, and bittersweet end to that second game, you could say, but. We are back to full strength now for both sides. Clan Milk versus tdM. We'll see who comes out on top. So let's get into it. Let's do the countdown.
Let's do it. All right. I will take the honors this time, Break. I'm going to count her down. Let's get going. Are you ready?
I am good. I have my button on the play. Let's do this.
Perfect. Let's get going in 3, 2, 1, go. 31, 32.
Perfect.
3. Great. Good, great, grand. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3 coming up here in this best-of-3 series between Clan Milk and Trademark Esports in the quarterfinals of the Plantronics Cup. I'm Zayori. With me is Breaky CPK, and we're going to see the conclusion of this epic series. But alas, this is a double elimination tournament, and this is currently the winner's bracket. So the loser of this series will have another chance to make it to the grand finals. So that's definitely good to hear. And just to reiterate, it is a North American-only tournament. So 2 of the higher-seeded teams here facing off in the round of 8. Or maybe not higher-seeded technically, but in my mind, what I think of as higher-seeded
2 of the better teams in North America.
Yeah, 2 of the better teams. 2 of the more notable teams. Yeah. Well-known, what have you. They have websites. Let's put it that way.
They have sponsors.
They have websites.
They have a website.
Anyway, as we tend to say here on Honcast, always great to see a best-of-3 series make it to that ace match, despite that last game with the unfortunate ending, the disconnect of Riser. But like you said, though, Breaky, this third match actually was played a day later, so that does put an interesting spin on things, I suppose.
Yeah, Riser, and on that note, for those that may just be tuning in, of course, he is ringing for B-Kid, who's right now in Korea for Trademark Esports, but he's playing a place for a solid player. But yeah, we are in the third game now. The picks, man, this is just doing turbo mode, so let's just jump right into it, and let's start with the band. So we are looking at Magebane, Ophelia, Tempest, Meraxis, Magnus, Pebbles, Tundra, and Keeper of the Forest. So, again, pretty similar bands. We do see that Magebane band this time around as well. So, yeah, not too much else to say. I mean, Magnus being banned this time. I believe he was open the first 2 games, but not going to be picked up this time here. So, Parasite once again left open, though, as a jungle, and no Demented Shaman in this whole freaking series. I still can't get over that. I mean, they have Cthulhuphon over there. Are they not going to pick up Demented? I mean,
I'm shocked just to see him not banned once. And I mean, there are only 3 picks left, and seeing him on the board, just that situation alone is a little bit interesting here. And I mean, I don't know. We see Clan Milk is going for that early Glacius pick, as they were actually first picking Glacius yet again. So by what they're right-clicking, doesn't look like Demented Shaman is going to be getting much Clan Milk love, as they are right-clicking pretty powerful heroes, and it's going to be Polywog Priest Hammerstorm. So yet again, Clan Milk going a very CC-oriented team. Every single hero is some sort of stun or disable, and again, most of them AoE stuns. So another dangerous lineup for Clan Milk here as they ready up.
Yeah, that is that has quite the crowd control over there on our Legion side. So yeah, Clan Milk, all 3 of these games definitely making that point, that they are very stun-likeable. They like them stuns, AoE especially. So Behemoth to finish off there for Trademark Esports, after going Corrupted Disciple, Wretched Andromeda, and Bubbles on top of that. So they go with the Corrupted Disciple pick. Definitely one of the teams that every now and then does like to run the Corrupted Disciple. Now with heroes like Forsaken Archer on the board, usually preferred over here like Corrupted Disciple, but for them this time around, going the Corrupted pick, and I believe it was actually earlier on. I'm kind of going, no, I guess it was the last couple of picks, really the 4th one even, but anyways, yeah, going with him as one of their picks, and then finishing off with Behemoth, like I said. So, are we going to see another tri-lane? I mean, or are Andromeda Behemoth just going to play pure roam? They are very powerful roaming heroes, so that would not be too surprising to me, but that is interesting.
Yeah, they have an interesting roster. To be perfectly frank, I'm trying to make sense of this Corrupted Disciple pickup. And this Hellborn roster seems pretty comparable to tdM when we saw them in that last ESL series that we casted, and it really didn't go so well. That was, I believe, the tri-lane they did was Sandwraith, so obviously no Sandwraith here, but you know, Behemoth early on, he didn't pick up much farm, and I think they did this Andromeda Corrupted Disciple combo, and it didn't end up working that well. We were talking about minus armor synergy between the Overload and the Aurora, and how that could really work out, but it just didn't really seem to get much footing. So this is going to be interesting. It looked like they were considering a tri-lane, contemplating as Andromeda, Behemoth, and Corrupted Disciple headed to the top. So perhaps you're right, Breaky. What do you make of this? I mean, is Corrupted Disciple an ideal tri-lane hero in your mind?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the team they're playing against, and maybe expecting Clan Milk to try to run a tri-lane of their own. And as we see right here, sending Hammerstorm, Glacius, and Cthulhu Font up top. So... but yeah, I mean that's not necessarily. I don't know. That is still. Yeah, that really isn't. I don't look at those three heroes and think, oh, that's going to be tri-lane. But
yeah. Cthulhu Font does have a hatchet. We see Hammerstorm with a ward and some potions. So, I mean, all arrows are pointing towards kind of tri-lane on tri-lane here, which, like you said, is sort of. It's hard to say that was really a good read from tdM, as these heroes just really are not used in a tri-lane at all.
Together. I mean, Cthulhu Font definitely newer compared to a lot of these heroes when it comes down to, you know, he wasn't really existent when the tri-lanes were around, so that's a fair point to make. But and a great thing about a hero like Cthulhu Font is that he can trample over the Behemoth stunners we talked about in the past, so that's also another, for both defensive and offensive purposes, can be very effective. So yeah, I look at this tri-lane here from Clan Milk, and it has a good amount of potential. I mean, two very strong stuns with that Trample and Hammerstorm, then obviously the Ice Imprisonment, even on top of that, could definitely set up some easy kills. So I see this much more as a killer style of tri-lane, as you know, the term that I like to use from time to time, where they're not going into this saying, all right, we need to get Cthulhu Font farmed. They're going into this saying, all right, we are going to crush this Corrupted Disciple and get as many hero kills as possible. So we'll see. You know, as soon as it starts, I'm sure. In fact, here we go. There's also one stun. The Trample coming in. There's the Hammerstorm stun. The Behemoth Fidget going to come out. The Freeze on top of Corrupted Disciple, and not nearly enough follow-up. Now, I am very curious as to the logic there not to try to go for Andromeda, and we do see the turnaround actually happening on a Cthulhu Font. So Behemoth positioning himself, getting ready for perhaps that, and, well, sure enough, able to set up the turnaround. So not the greatest execution, unfortunately, for Clan Milk right there coming out.
Yeah, exactly right, and that was one of those situations of Z-Freak using that little spot, as we noted in that last series as well. They did the exact same thing, putting Behemoth in that little tiny niche, waiting for him to get too close, and then making it happen with a beautifully placed block. So just one of those little things that tdM has found will be super, super successful. Unfortunately, though, we are going to see Behemoth get taken out, and Glacius is going to barely be able to survive as we see more tri-lane on tri-lane action. But Clan Milk going to be able to pick up a kill of their own, so I guess we could call it kind of an even tri-lane situation at this point. But I'm sure we'll have plenty of action up here to admire this 6-hero lane. Let's take a look at some of the others. In the mid, it is going to be Polywog Priest facing off against a Wretched Hag, so pretty comparable to what we've seen previously in this series. It's going to be Moon Meander on Hag yet again, and Moravis on Polywog Priest again. We see more action in the top, Breaky, and stun coming out from Andromeda. Doesn't look like either side's going to be able to secure a kill quite yet, but you know, he mentioned Clan Milk going for more of a hero killer style tri-lane, and I think that's definitely a fair term to use here, as they non-stop with the action here in the top.
Z-Freak deserves MVP status so far, though. I mean, and this is obviously a big reason why you want to have a hero like Behemoth if in a trial, and if you get the opportunity, because that fissure stun is just so powerful. And let's not forget, it was nerfed. I mean, not as nerfed as it used to be, but early levels, remember when they reverted it all the way down to 5 seconds it lasted compared to 8 seconds? I mean, it was now changed, I believe, to now it's 6 seconds at level 1, or 6.5, but Corrupted Disciple once again taking pressure, and it is going to block Cthulhu Font, actually. Can they follow up with this enough? I don't know if they're going to be able to. Outcome of this Comet stun. You see Corrupted Disciple being very, very timid in terms of going in. He doesn't want to risk going in too far. No Electric Tide mana, so he will stay back, but yeah, you do think about that, and that's how more powerful Behemoth actually was before that nerf, especially when it came to the trial lane. But it's because of how great of a tool it is, both offensively and defensively, with so many heroes up here. And if you can just cut off the heroes from one another, you can definitely set up some powerful kills. And no doubt he's been the reason why it's been going as well as it's been for tdM. But you know, as this game progresses, those levels are going to start adding up, and Clan Milk may start to get more powerful themselves as well. So.
Nope. Definitely right, and we'll see what Cthulhuphon can do with that farm. Of course, being the primary recipient for that Legion side, does serve for kind of interesting play. What can a farmed Cthulhuphon do with all that tri-lane free farm status? Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, though, it is Torturer Bubbles facing off. I think this is the first time we've even looked at the bottom lane. But the two 1v1 lanes, I mean, they're just not nearly as exciting as seeing 6 heroes in one lane. But it appears the other two are breaking relatively even. If we glance at the GPM chart, it looks like that is the case. This tri-lane definitely seems to be working for Clan Milk, though. Sort of interesting how the GPM chart is coming out here. We see the two solo heroes. Actually, I kind of misread this at first, pulling ahead by quite a bit. So that's definitely good news for CM.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Clan Milk in a pretty comfortable spot here. As the scan, again, we're only just over 4 minutes in, so obviously very early, but the trial lane has been working, and although they haven't been getting the kills, that goes back to my point of, at least just keep Corrupted Disciple from getting some strong farm themselves, and that's exactly what they're doing here. The fact that Corrupted Disciple is only sitting on 175 GPM, not necessarily the greatest news for him, and Cthulhuphon, taking advantage of the Hookem, of course, and I don't know if I'm sure he has, but I haven't really seen it, but they are going to try to bring down the Corrupted Disciple. In comes the Hammer, starts on Glacius get in range, yes they can with the Thunder Blast, and that's a kill, so despite another great Behemoth Fissure Stun blocking out the other two heroes, that's Hammerstorm and Glacius. That's what makes it so great. Two very powerful range stuns, and able to get the kill right there. So that's even more to the credit of Clan Milk, locking down this Corrupted Disciple, and now even getting a kill on top of him. So as this game has progressed here, still early on, but Clan Milk is starting to get more comfortable as time moves on now.
Yep, exactly right. And just looking at this GPM chart, still Polywog Priest and Torture are doing very, very well in those solo lanes. Just to reiterate again, that's really part of the power of Clan Milk here. As we see this engage in the top, continuing. Andromeda going to be the first to fall. This engage starting off in favor of Clan Milk. A nice trample going to befall Corrupted Disciple as well, as he tries to micro away to survive this Behemoth out of mana, just swinging those auto attacks onto Glacius. But there we go. He's going to be able to use that mana battery, and they do pick up a double tap. Both Creams and Milk Fat fall. Moon Meander going to actually pick up that double tap and may even be able to get a hat trick here. Unfortunately, going to micro the wrong way. He's going to be able to finish off this Hammer Storm. He's going to suicide into the tower. And there it is, the hat trick coming out from Moon Meander. So just as Clan Milk was looking pretty damn good, picking up some serious momentum, Moon Meander coming out with a hat trick.
Moon Meander's like, "Oh, come to save the day." I'm sure he was singing just like that too. So, but no, yeah,
Probably
that was
pretty close.
Pretty close.
Striking.
I mean, I'm a pretty damn good singer, so I don't know if he can keep up to that, but. Pretty close. No, but Wretched Egg, it's obviously perfect timing on his part. When it seemed like Clan Milk had a great turnaround onto Andromeda right there, and maybe getting some momentum back once again in that specific fight. All of a sudden, Moon Meander comes in on Wretched Hag and cleans up. And we talked about how he was definitely losing this middle lane to Polywog Priest. And when you look at the Kree farm, that still shows quite a bit. But that hat trick really boosted his GPM by a lot, and he's able to get the power supply, bottles, doesn't really regen, and of course the towels or the amulet of the XL, as well as the Little Red Booties. So turning out to be a little bit better of a start for him. He is still at that level disadvantage to Polywog Priest, but a much needed hat trick, really, you could say, for Moon Meander on that Wretched Hag, and at least getting somewhat comfortable. But overall, things are still seeming to be a little bit better in the favor of the Legion team. And as long as they continue to lock down Corrupted Disciple as well as they are, I think that will be to their benefit big time. Because with Polywog Priest and Torturer getting some great farm themselves, they will have that early on game impact, as we see from them so many times, especially with the decent farm that they are having. So the solos doing a little bit better right now for our Legion side here.
No, exactly right, and that's sort of what's really making their tri-lane to shut down Corrupted Disciple so powerful. But speaking of solo heroes doing very well, Torture going to be in some trouble in the bottom. He's going to drop that stun onto Bubbles, going to try and pour it out, and he is going to make it. Wretched Hag with the right idea, but unfortunately just not quite close enough for that sonar screen to connect. So Cakes is last going to be able to survive, going to be able to pour it out. All the while in the top lane, though, more engagements coming down on the Corrupted Disciple. A nice Fissure Stun from Behemoth. Is it going to be enough? And indeed it will. They might even be able to pick up this turnaround onto Hammerstorm. But no, actually the Fissure Stun going to work against Andromeda a little bit there to keep Hammerstorm safe and sound. So, more action in the bottom lane. We see that Ward Trap put down onto Riser. Down he goes, unfortunate for Bubbles. But there we go, Polywog Priest having a damn good time here on Clan Milk. Actually, Moravis now leading the way at 350 GPM.
Yeah, he is definitely taking off. And, one of these quiet players in the competitive scene in general, when I think about Clan Milk, I mean, obviously Milk Fat just because of the character that he is in general, but Moravis is just I think he's their best player. I mean, and I think it is hard to argue against that. He's been their best player. You know, definitely their very solid carry player, and a player that they can rely on to do very well every single game. And he once again, obviously, doing that here. This game, as you just mentioned, 357 goal per minute, and a very good kill at the bottom lane onto Bubbles happening. I want to make sure one last time that we're synced up real quickly. I think I might be a second ahead again, but 8:45, 8:46, 47. 48.
You're about half a
49.
second ahead.
Okay, I'll pause it real quickly. 52, 53, 54.
Yep,
Seems
good.
All right, let's go ahead and stick with that. Anyways, we saw the chance, the initiation opportunity at the top side, but Corrupted Disciple ends up staying alive. But again, his GPM really continuing to struggle as his creep farm again continues to show for that. I mean, he's just not getting any type of decent creep farm even. And that's to all the credit of Clan Milk. And we've been kind of sitting in these lanes for the most part. I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of movement other than Polywalk Priest going bottom and Wretched Hag, of course, when she came top. But speaking of movement, here comes Polywalk Priest at top lane. We'll be spotted by this Ward of Sight here. We'll see how tdM responds to this.
Yeah, Cthulhu going to go straight in. Not going to connect with that Trample, unfortunately. The Fissure going to come out. Barely going to connect with Hammer Storm. We see Bubbles now is going to come in. Actually not going to connect with either the Song of the Sea or the Shell Surf. That's sort of unfortunate for Bubbles. He will get the Kelp Field, but it is just going to expire before really doing anything too effective. So it's a couple of small plays coming out from Bubbles, unfortunately, but that's going to be about it. Looks like the engage is going to stop there. Both teams going to kind of head back. tdM kind of turtled up around the tower, and Clan Milk really not too interested to get hyper-aggressive here, though they do have 5 heroes, so a slight numbers advantage. We do see in the mid lane it is Wretched Hag solo farming, so this could be the opportunity Clan Milk's looking for. Polywog does have those wards up, so they may even be able to put a little bit of pressure on that tower if things go their way, but one Fissure Stun will push him back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, nothing wrong with what Moonmeander's doing at the same time. He does have a Homecoming Stone. He's got a full mana pool, so if they were to jump in right there, she would have no doubt been porting in with the Homecoming Stone to look to set up a turnaround. In fact, she may get a kill right here to Polywog Priest. The Bat Blast immediately out comes the Thunder Scream. The Haunt is ticking down Polywog Priest, trying to do enough for a turnaround, though, and it is going to at least set up a return kill onto Wretched Hag. So, honestly, Moravis pretty much made the best of a very small situation there, opportunity for that matter, that he actually had, and at least he ended up getting the turnaround kill, like I said. So, and also got a 345 bonus gold streak there for getting that kill because of stopping a streak. So really, I want to say that I even worked out better for Moravis in the end.
Yeah, certainly right. I mean, definitely a pretty big play from Polywog Priest. That goes back to one of the things you noted earlier on about Wretched Hag waiting for that blink to be on cooldown, and then that's your opportunity to score that ward trap. That's exactly what Moravis did right there. So very keen timing with that ultimate for sure. By no means just an accident as he was getting taken down. You see in the top lane though, tdM putting some pressure on the tier 1 tower and have it about below half health. It looks like Clan Milk though is ready to respond. A port going to come in. The Trample from Cthulhu unfortunately not going to connect with anyone as they are going to get a little bit more aggressive here. Cthulhu actually going to activate the Obliterate as the Kelp Field does come out as well as a Fissure Stun. So Clan Milk not going to be able to capitalize with a kill, but alas they will keep their tower safe and sound and may actually have a little bit of a counter pushing opportunity here. Though Polywog Priest Ward still on cooldown, we will see Moravis head back towards that mid lane.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate by Milkfat right there. He's just a little bit to the left of hitting Corrupted Disciple with the initial trample stun, and if he did, I mean, no doubt 100% kill. But just missing that really gave tdM the chance to react to that, obviously, aggressive play from Clan Milk coming out, and we're able to fall back in time. But as you mentioned, possible tower push indeed is coming out right here. Torch, we're going to avoid the Shell Surf nuke, actually, and we'll be more than fine, but in the end, I think they say, screw it, not worth it. We're going to start falling back. Again, Milkfat is sitting right on top of this Ward of Sight, and that goes to the credit of Sender. Placing that Ward of Sight, it is going to get a full duration, and has no doubt given them plenty of vision to work with in terms of seeing, how many heroes are up here, what their numbers look like, and which heroes specifically. So that's some great information to have, obviously, in a top-tier game like this. But Torture and Polywog Priest, they're going to go to the middle lane. Polywog Priest wards are now up, and you see them placed down immediately. Probably a little bit of overkill. I don't know if that was necessary for right away, at least. Could have maybe saved it to maybe push a little bit more. But at the same time, using it, we'll get the tower kill guaranteed. And now we'll have to wait 110 seconds or so for that cooldown to come back up. But meanwhile, at the top lane, you see that tower also being pressured. So how about that? Clan Milk, double tower push. Works for them. No resistance coming out from tdM in either one.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, we see Clan Milk actually with a pretty sizable lead, only 13 minutes in, about 5k gold, 1.2k experience. That is definitely good news for for this Legion side. Just glancing at the GPMs, Corrupted Disciple's still struggling quite a bit, only just now breaking that 200 GPM barrier. He's going to be able to push a little bit here. One of the problems, of course, Clan Milk pushing that close lane first is going to give Troutmador some opportunity to farm. He should be able to static farm this lane fairly effectively and do it fairly low risk as well, which is definitely good news. One of the reasons why you don't really want to push that close lane first if you don't have to. But I'm sure we'll see Clan Milk group up and put some pressure on that last remaining Tier 3 tower down here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's trying to just amplify that gold lead that they have, as you mentioned too, 4,600 lead and counting now in their favor. So Clan Milk, very comfortable position here early on in this game. And again, Troutmador on Corrupted Disciple. He is finally starting to get some bit of farm here. He has broken that 200 gold per minute mark, and that's never a good thing when a caster says that. But hey, he is recovering, and he is now up to 223 gold per minute and counting. So that is the good news here for Trademark Esports. But there you go, the bottom tower goes down, so all initial towers are taken out in favor of Clan Milk, and you compare that to tdM getting 0 tower kills so far. Obviously, that's where a big part of that gold lead perhaps is coming from. But Polywalk Priest, 387 gold per minute right now. Did he buy something else? I feel like he should have something else. Maybe not. He's got Steam Boots, Exile, and a bottle, so as well as Mystic Vestments. But, wouldn't be surprised to see a Portal Key or perhaps finishing that Ring of Sorcery even earlier on here for him, as they're going to deny this top tower in the end as well. So finally a tower falls in favor of tdM, but it does get denied for Clan Milk's sake, at least. Yeah,
that's sort of furthering the power of Clan Milk here, scoring that first kill, or first tower deny. Definitely good. I mean, just furthering their position. Polywog Priest now finishing that Tablet of Command, so that's where some of that money is going at least, and kind of an always a valuable item, but especially against the bubbles. And Wretched Hag and Andromeda, as you mentioned in that last game, Tablet of Command is particularly powerful, which is further good news. Other big item pickups really aren't too many. I mean, we're still pretty early on in this game, only 15 minutes in, but really not too many other big notable item pickups made yet.
I am not sure. Okay, does he have something else? Okay, he bought the pattern for Tablet, but he doesn't have either the Neophytes book or the Major Totem, so I don't know if that's actually in his stash or whatnot. But anyways, we do see initiation at the bottom lane. Bubbles wicked comments on. There's that trample on top of Bubbles. He could not shell surf as a result. That'll guarantee a kill onto him. Perfect timing from Clan Milk coordination right there to get that kill. And you see obviously in the background Overload activated by Corrupted Disciple, and he will be able to get away trample and knocking it Behemoth, but it does force him to stutter step a little bit. But Hammer Storm gets turned around on the 6 charges of Conduit on Corrupted Disciple, able to do enough damage right there to turn around on the Hammer Storm. So actually Troutmador actually picks up a very needed kill for him at the very last second. Hammer Storm unfortunately probably shouldn't have overextended as much as he did, but
yeah, no, definitely right. And we see the second tower kill here for tdM is going to get denied. So well played yet again by Clan Milk, picking up all 3 of Trademark's Tier 1 towers, I should say, and then denying those first 2. Really going to start to show off here, that gold lead. I think we'll see a big difference in the inventories here in the upcoming moments as Clan Milk continues to hold on to that gold lead. But kind of further good news for this Legion side, we see a tablet pick up on Torturer now. So 2 tablets for this Legion team as well. Sort of furthering that point we were making earlier about the lineup tdM is running.
No take cover on Bubbles either. And I find that always interesting. When we see that case. And, you case that, you could say, it's because they don't have a whole lot of projectiles, that maybe like single target abilities that you can. But I don't know if that's necessarily usually at least 1 level we see at the very least, but if not 2 even. But yeah, not going any. So not saying that would have kept him alive by any means in the last fight, but
yeah, but still it's intriguing. I mean, this Legion team has plenty of lockdown, plenty of AoE stun. I don't know. I would agree. It feels like just that 1 point at least in take cover is so powerful. I mean, that's one of the abilities that defines Bubbles as a hero that's particularly strong, especially in that suicide lane role. So it's really interesting to see. We see kind of an interesting block from Z-Freak. Unfortunately, not really going to work out so nicely for the rest of the team. Bubble's going to use the kelp field, but not going to work out.
I like your choice of words right there. Interesting block. That was a pretty bad block by Z-Freak. We give him a lot of credit, but that was a oops, wrong side on that block right there. So
yeah. So what are you going to do? It did free up some time for Moon Meander to pick up that tower kill in the mid lane. So alas, one of the Tier 1 towers does not get denied. So that is good news for tdM as we see that gold lead slightly closed here. But Clan Milk still hanging on to it. They're going to put some pressure on this top tier 2 tower. It looks like Polywog Priest does have an ultimate up, and they are not going to hesitate to take out this tower to continue putting the pressure on. This is exactly what Clan Milk should be doing here. I mean, they have a pretty mid-game oriented team, and I really like this choice to kind of group up and start putting pressure on. They do get the tower, then down in the bottom, Cthulhuphant going toe-to-toe with Corrupted Disciple. The ports come in. There's that hammer throw, the Hex, and pretty easy kill here for Clan Milk. Every single hero going to port down, so Troutman definitely going to overstay his welcome. And he's going to fall.
Two big problems for me right there with what just happened. One was, first off, Corrupted Disciple, he's not a getaway style of hero necessarily. I mean, he has decent speed, of course, with his third ability especially, and he could definitely run away effectively, but he doesn't have, he's not like your Hag or your Mage Bane or Sandwraith even that can blink away or get away from dangerous spots like that by pushing by yourself. The second problem, he didn't even have a Homecoming Stone. So even if he managed to get away, I mean, what was he going to do? Like, just keep running? So, yeah, I mean, I understand they were pushing that top lane, but obviously, as we saw right there, you always have to keep in mind that they could port back and, catch you off guard. And, maybe it's just a case of he thought all 5 of them were up there and thought he had time to react, but obviously Cthulhuphant came down before and was able to trample him, setting up the eventual kill. So, yeah, a little bit of a, kind of scratch your head moment there from Troutman on what he ultimately was thinking. But in the end, Clan Milk, they get that secondary tower, they get a nice little hero pick, and amplify their lead even that much more. Now 5,700 gold, 2,800,000 experience. 2,800, yeah, experience lead. Not 28,000 just yet, but 20 minutes into the game here. So
and to further that point as well, I mean, of all the heroes to pick off in a situation like that, Corrupted Disciple is definitely the most valuable. Looking at that GPM tab, I mean, Moonmander on that Wretched Hag is sort of the saving grace of tdM at the moment. He's the only one farming kind of on par with the top 3 farmers of Clan Milk right now. Bubbles as well as Bubbles as well as Corrupted Disciple. Both hovering around 250 GPM, which isn't bad, but when you're looking at a 370 Torture as well as a 390 Polywog Priest, it's looking a little bit rough.
Behemoth, that's another thing. Similar to a Magnus, really needs that portal key, and obviously at this point, don't expect it anytime soon. I mean, he did go Talisman the Exile or Amulet of the Exile for earlier stats, and then Striders as well, but nowhere near that portal key just yet. And you could argue maybe they should be trying to free up some time here to get some Behemoth farm. Whether that's farming some pushed up lanes or even the jungle a little bit with his abilities, but. Yeah, at this rate, he's not going to have that portal key in the near future, and that is unfortunate for a Hellborn side. Now, I will say, they got Bubbles and Wretched Hag, both blinks already, built in, and they can initiate somewhat strong, but without Behemoth being the big one to follow that up, if not leading the way himself, really does take away a lot from the hero. He's had some great fissure stuns, but if he can't jump in an ultimate and keep the whole team locked down like we've seen so many times, it really takes a lot away from him. So unfortunate news there for tdM. Hammerstorm in the meantime at the top lane. I have a feeling he might be in a little bit of trouble if he doesn't react soon. If he stays in a little bit longer, it looks like he's going to fall back though. And Noodle should be fine.
Yeah, just in the nick of time. So the same thing on the mini-map. I'm like, uh-oh, 3 of the dark dots going on a light dot. Could be bad news bears. Meanwhile, speaking of those little dots on the minimap, in the bottom lane, we see Cthulhuphant can activate the Obliterate, but not going to be able to secure the kill, unfortunately. As, in the top, Hammerstorm and Bubbles going to go in toe-to-toe here. Bubbles kind of dangerously low, but does have all those cooldowns up. Kind of taking more of a passive toll in this game, all things considered. Started out with so much early aggression, and now we're actually only at 13 kills 22 minutes in, so definitely slowing down a little bit. Clan Milk's done a great job pushing those towers, but all things considered, we haven't really seen a huge 5v5 team fight yet, which is a little bit interesting. Clan Milk definitely is still in a solid spot, but I think they need to make sure they keep that pressure on, not to fall into that trap to say, we have a lead, now we can sit back and farm, and I think that would definitely not be a smart choice here, as Troutman will eventually bring this farm back if you give him that opportunity and give him enough time. And he's slowly on the rise, up to about 275 GPM now, which is definitely an improvement from where he was a few moments ago.
Yeah.
Clan Milk playing with fire a little bit.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not. I can also understand why Clan Milk perhaps maybe isn't rushing it too bad. I obviously do agree with you that Corrupted Disciple, if you do just give him the ultimate time, then yeah, he will take over. But they still have a little bit of a window. Oh, Wretched Hag, very interesting. Moonmeander, yeah, comes out with an auto attack while invisible. It definitely had to be a misclick because as soon as she did it, she blinked away. So. That was unfortunate there for Moonmeander, because definitely getting into some vision and trying to maybe set up a kill. But anyways, so yeah, they still got a little bit of time, and perhaps finishing. It looks like, I'm guessing, a Nullstone on Torturer, and then maybe even a Shrunken Head on Polywog Priest. Going to be powerful. Then, well, they got a Portal Key now on Hammerstorm, though. That was going to be the other item, but they have that now, too. So you do see them grouping up here, though, and when it comes to team fights, especially with where this game is at right now, I'm feeling much more confident about Clan Milk's presence. So this is definitely a good thing what they're doing here, and I like how they're also spreading out. They were, at least for the most part. Not giving Bubbles a chance for a kill field. He's made the point about lack of kills in general. I mean, Bubbles only 1 assist so far and no hero kills. That's kind of a big deal, but he is going to jump right here. There's the kill field coming out. Kajaturas, but Hammerstorm with the reaction activates the ultimate, and Andromeda melts to the ground. Wretched Egg getting hexed in the meantime. Nice Fidget Stone coming out, trying to block them out, but the tongue side keeps Wretched Egg in place, and Wretched Egg will fall. Look at Conduit being charged up, though, from the Disciple. He's up to 10 charges, but he's on the run. The trample will hit, and Corrupted Disciple will fall to the electric jolt coming out there from Polywog Priest. And now Polywog Priest chasing down Bubbles, who finally does take cover, and he will Portal Key away, but damage already done big time by Clan Milk, as they get the 3 kills to 2. So I guess not as extreme, but they're also going to steal the Ancients, so.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, a triple stacked Ancients is definitely a nice chunk of change, and a great play from Clan Milk. As we saw, they finished that round of core items. They got the Portal Key here on Hammerstorm. Then they just grouped up and continued putting that pressure on. It's all about looking for those opportunities in the mid-game. Taking that break, farm a core item, and then, right here we see Cthulhuphon able to pick up that barrier idol, and now they're going to be looking for these opportunities again. So far, Clan Milk is handling this perfectly, and getting a cost-effective exchange like that is obviously just going to better their situation. It's looking good. It's looking really good. As you mentioned with Behemoth, it's sort of unfortunate that he doesn't have that Portal Key yet, because although Z-Freak's been doing well, he's only 0-1-4, so he hasn't been feeding or anything like that. He's not horribly behind for where Behemoth should be right now, but until he gets to that core Portal Key item, he just doesn't have that same driving presence. It really is kind of an integral part of that hero at this level of play, so it's a little bit unfortunate that, there's just not that much tdM can do right at this point to handle a 5v5 engage.
Yeah, there isn't, and that's really where Moonmeander and Riser here on Wretched Egg and Bubbles, they play a huge role right now for tdM. They need to be the ones, if not together, if not even alone to an extent. I don't know if they're farmed up necessarily enough to be doing it alone, and let alone Clan Milk has been grouping up for a lot of it, I guess, but they need to be getting kills here left and right, to really get tdM back into this game and buying some more time for Corrupted Disciple to kind of sit back and get more farm, but unfortunately, it is a lot easier said than done. And well, Moonmeander, at least on Wretched Hag, he did have. Remember though, he is 4-2, but the hat trick at the very beginning of the game, obviously a big portion of that. Has only really had 1 kill since. So kind of going back to the point I'm just making of perhaps the activity hasn't been as good as it's need to be for tdM to have success in this game. And Clan Milk, on the other hand, they've been playing it correct. They've been the one grouping up as, Polywog Priest sitting on top of a Revelation, but he will jump first anyways, as Hammerstorm also follows it up. But Behemoth, the reaction right there. The ultimate comes out. In comes a Bat Blast. I believe it only hit Hammerstorm, though. The Glacial Downpour going to lock down Behemoth, help get the kill on him. Andromeda also falls, so right now a 2-for-1 exchange as Cthulhuphon dives back in. Moonmeander blinks in. Sonar Scream going to be used to finish off Glacius right there, and now Cthulhuphon, he is dropping 3 charges of Conduit onto Corrupted Disciple right now. So Bubbles did get picked off by Kicks right there on Torturer. Without Torturer, he's on the run. Nice tablet over the ledge, though, and that'll buy him time at least to get away from Corrupted Disciple, and it looks like Hag will not bother chasing. So a little bit of a skirmish right there, but again, I think it's safe to say a Legion team coming out on top once again.
Exactly right, a 2-for-3 exchange, and obviously, my background in StarCraft, you tend to overuse the term cost-effective, but that's exactly what that exchange was, back-to-back, and that's, just money in the bank for Clan Milk at this point. So they're still in good shape. If they can push these last 2 outer towers, of course, further that gold lead, get that next round of core items, they're still going to be in great shape. We can see how tanky Torture is now that she has that Nullstone, as well as that tablet. Polywog Priest with the Portal Key, as we saw in that last fight, and Cthulhuphon now pretty damn close to his Soul's Bulwark also. So those really big core items definitely coming out, and you look at the inventories of the Hellmorn side, and there's really not a hell of a lot. Wretched Hag does have a Nullstone, Bubbles does have a Portal Key, but even Corrupted Disciple is struggling a little bit here. All he has is that core Helm of the Black Legion and set of phase boots here, as we see up in the top lane, Moonmeander going to get taken down. A nice ward trap and CC combination where Avis does pick up that kill onto Moonmeander. So
yeah.
Again, furthering the domination here for Clan Milk.
Yeah, I was actually watching that the whole way through. I mean, portal key in from Polywog Priest. Just got enough assistance in time from Torture as well before Wretched Egg was able to blink away. So yeah, just that's portal key, Polywog Priest. Such a deadly item on that hero. Especially when you have that Ward Trap cooldown ready to go. If you know what you're doing, and of course Moravius by all means knows what he's doing, he will land that Ward Trap and can almost guarantee a kill as long as those cooldowns are up. So tdM, man, I mean, they continue to play from behind here in game number 3 of this best of the 3 series, and you know it's not often we say that, especially recently in the competitive Hansi. But Clan Milk looking very good here. You know, things working all around, and I keep glancing back at Corrupted Disciple because he continues to be a big key here, of course, for ultimately coming back for tdM. And it continues to rise. I mean, he is now up to 310 gold per minute. He's working on, I would hope, to be a Shrunken Head. And when it gets that, a Shrunken Head will be very powerful against our Legion side. So that could be that turning point item that Trademark Esports is really banking on here. And maybe where you look at the Legion side and say, well, maybe they do want to maybe play a little bit more aggressive before he gets that. But we'll have to wait and see. As I think Torture just bought the items. Did he really? Okay, no, he sold it. I thought he bought both a Neophyte's Book and a Mighty Blade. I was like, Staff for the Master Torture? Really? But no. I think he just accidentally purchased it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That is not something I don't think I've ever seen. That would be... but, you know, I mean, if Corrupted Disciple does manage to get that Shrunken Head, I think a Hellflower would certainly be a great choice to try and deal with that appropriately. I'm not sure who would pick it up on this Legion side. Probably, I guess, Torture or Polywog Priest would be viable candidates. But, you know, we've talked about Hellflower quite a bit. At least in one of our recent casts, we spent a lot of time looking at Hellflower. And definitely is an effective counter to Shrunken Head. With that long range, if you can get it off before the Shrunken Head is used, it's a really big window of opportunity to lock down a hero like Corrupted Disciple. So certainly could be a viable option. Cthulhuphant going to wander right into Andromeda and Hag. Andromeda going to get melted as the fight begins, and Hag going to get CC'd. Of course, that Ward Trap coming out again, and Clan Milk going to clean it up. A 2-for-0 exchange. Moonmeander and Sender unfortunately going to have to pay the ultimate price when it's all said and done.
I mean, that just happened so quickly right there. Cthulhuphant ran into Andromeda, and a couple seconds later, she was dead. You know, Cthulhuphant not necessarily known as a big, bursty hero, but when you're dealing with an Andromeda only 682 life, you know, not the most difficult task either, I guess. He did have assistance with the Tundra Blast coming up from Glacius, but still. Getting those couple of picks now puts him in a 5 versus 3. Well, I guess Andromeda being level 6, he's already back up, so never mind on that. But it still is a 5 versus 4. Wretched Egg, of course, cannot buy back, and they're going to apply a lot of tower pressure right now here at the top lane. You see Fidgetstone going out. That's what makes Behemoth a great turtling style hero. Unfortunately, not doing a whole lot here, though. And this tower will end up falling with quite ease, actually. And Hammerstorm has that ultimate activated, now level 2, mind you. He's hitting for 228 maximum damage. That is quite a bit. Bobbles will drop in, the kill comes out, but look at Polywog Priest in the background. He was actually holding down Andromeda, preventing her from swapping or setting herself, and the great job with the Hammerstorm stun on top of the trample. Gets a couple of kills. We do see Glacius falling as well as Hammerstorm, and Corrupted Disciple doing as much work as possible with the conduit, but not going to be nearly enough. Behemoth comes in, though, with the ultimate, and down the Legion heroes fall. Cthulhuphant trampling out, but I believe he will end up dying as well in the end. I mean, will he? I gotta think he is. Fisher's done up in 4 seconds. Wretched Egg diving. Wants to get himself killed by Newt. Perhaps he will use the hook and make himself a little bit beefier. But no, it's just not going to be enough. Riser will get credit for the kill. And that fight will finish. Now, the melee racks did end up getting taken out. So, despite that genocide, I think Clan Milk still got a lot what they were looking for.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, you really have to give a lot of credit to Clan Milk for capitalizing on that kill, taking out the tower and the melee racks, and they were able to pick up quite a few kills as well. A buyback was used by Z-Freak, so although he did get a beautiful ultimate off, that is going to actually slow down his quest for a portal key. Before that engage started, he had about 1650 in the bank, so he isn't really going to come out ahead when it's all said and done. You know, the damage was done. Definitely, I would say a worthwhile exchange for Clan Milk. We'll see Wretched Hag take out a triple stack of Ancients down here in the bottom, but I don't know. I mean, tdM is hanging in there. Oh, Clan Milk, that pushing power mixed with just their huge bursty potential is so deadly. We saw Corrupted Disciple, even with that Shrunken Head, he still really didn't survive that long. Just the auto attacks alone from these heroes, it was kind of enough to take him down. It was sort of astonishing to see.
I think a big thing we did see in that last fight, one of two things was we did see that the stun rotation and the power of the stun of this Clan Milk lineup, and especially when they stagger it one after the other. I mean, just how much it can be and how long it can last. But I will say, Corrupted Disciple, as you kind of mentioned at the end there, he did do quite a bit, but he was by himself at the end, and he actually did do quite a bit of damage. If he manages to get in there with the rest of the team initiating, there's actually a pretty solid chance. We do see a lot of initiating happening, though, at the bottom rune, as Glacius went down initially, but Wretched Hag paying for her life, or paying with her life for it, as a result of going in there to help get the kill to Glacius, so ends up being kind of an unfortunate one-for-one exchange for her. But yeah, going back to the point, again, Corrupted Disciple, that Shrunken Head, definitely doing quite a bit. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to get that great positioning off until later on in that fight when, you know, damage was already done. So we do see the middle tower push happening, though, and will easily be taken out. And I think Clan Milk is going to decide it's not worth risking too much right now, and they are going to fall back, as Shrunken Head was also just purchased on Polywog Priest. But yeah, so Corrupted Disciple, he is getting a little bit dangerous, as kind of expected, but unless they could put it all together, and again, it's very much easier said than done, especially with all these stuns coming out, it still will be in favor of Clan Milk.
Yep, definitely. And Shrunken Head actually just complete on Torture as well, so 2 very important core items going to be done, and even Hammerstorm going to be pretty close to his Shrunken Head as well, which is going to make things all the more difficult for Trademark Esports. Of course, Corrupted Disciple, you know, he is that right-click auto-attack hero, but still a lot of magic damage and a lot of disable on his Hellborn side, so those Shrunken Heads, I think, are going to have a profound impact on the upcoming team fights. Only 1 outer tower remaining for Clan Milk, and it looks like they are going to start to group up around this bottom lane and possibly try and take it out.
You see Hammerstorm just sitting on top of them with a invisible rune activated. Of course, Revelation was put down earlier, but not going to matter. Bubbles gets caught. The swap from Andromeda at the last second will save him, but Andromeda, of course, sacrificing her life to do so, and Bubbles got very low, so don't expect him to be any or much use in this team fight if it does take place. Shrunken Head was activated by Corrupted Disciple right there, and really not much of a fight happening, so definitely a case of expecting the follow-up to be there. But using the Shrunken Head, and the Legion team were like, well, you know, let's let that wear off, then kind of reset, and then go back. And Polywog Priest says, your Shrunken Head's off, bitch. I'm going to go in now. He activates a Shrunken Head of his own. Perfect timing right there as the Fissure Stun comes out. They get the lockdown kill on the Corrupted Disciple, and the Kraken Show continues to be too much for Trademark Esports to handle. And now Clan Milk pushing the last outer tower. Now going to start pressuring their base once again, perhaps, or may fall back and, well, could even go for a Congo kill here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're in a pretty good position to keep pressuring the base. They've got a ward up on the plateau. Unfortunately, the Polywog wards aren't going to be in range to hit that tower, but, I mean, they're in good shape. No buyback money on Corrupted Disciple. Behemoth's going to go in. He will catch 2 heroes to that ultimate. Wretched Hag going to drop a nice Bat Blast as well to do a hell of a lot of damage. It looks like Behemoth is going to fall. Clan Milk still hanging in there. A beautiful ultimate from Glacius as he heads for the hills, as we see Cthulhu Font as well as Hammerstorm already headed defensively also. So when it's all said and done, Clan Milk going to be a 2-for-2 exchange, of course, picking up that Tier 2 tower as well. So it just seems like every exchange we see in this game, at least for the past 20 minutes or so, has either gone in favor for Clan Milk or completely broken even, and they just are slowly picking up more and more momentum, slowly getting further and further ahead.
Yeah.
And now they're at that point where their items are just so different. They were able to maintain that fight despite the Behemoth ultimate and the Wretched Hag ult, and still only concede 2 deaths.
Yeah, I think that's a strong point to make there at the end. I mean, it definitely hasn't been a case of tdM just getting steamrolled in all these fights. I mean, that really hasn't been it. It's just been a case of Clan Milk doing enough to barely win those team fights, even at times, if not break even, as you put it. But those add up, and we have had, 4 or 5 instances of that where it has added up. Obviously, we see the top melee racks that we talked about earlier, obviously taken out. The bottom tower now getting a lot of pressure being applied to it, obviously with all the outer towers done as well. We're now 37 minutes in. And yeah, I mean, Clan Milk continues to get bigger and better. 14,000 gold lead, 7,000 experience lead here in their favor. So I still think tdM has a chance by all means here, and Corrupted Disciple, continues to show that. But that's where Clan Milk deserves a lot of credit, because as we saw that last fight where he activated the Shrunken Head expecting a team fight to happen, and when the trample came out from Cthulhu Font, Clan Milk was like, you know what? He used a Shrunken Head. Let's just let that wear off. Let's kind of reset things and then go back in, when it makes sense to, when he doesn't have that up. Because when that is up, he will dish out a lot of damage, and he will be very difficult to deal with. But if he doesn't have that Shrunken Head, which is now down to 8 seconds, so a couple seconds off of it, that's where the Clan Milk team can shine, of course. But speaking of Shrunken Heads, I mean, look at Torturer, Polywog Priest, and even Hammerstorm now have Shrunken Heads of their own here for the Legion side. So minimizing bubbles and wretched hags damage.
So and they have a barrier idol on top of that. So I mean, they are really doing a good job countering the effects of what tdM's team can throw their way. I mean, they even have a Soul's Bulwark as well. So that's kind of furthering, set that bad boy to positive. Can certainly help thwart the effects of the Aurora mixed with the minus armor on that Overload, as we did note in that picking phase. So. Yeah, you got to like you said, I got to give credit to Clan Milk. There are some naysayers, talking about the pub train that Clan Milk is doing here, but that's kind of what their strategy is built. They're a mid-game pushing team. If they weren't grouping up in quote pub training, I hate that term, but they would be losing. I mean, that's what this strategy is based on. They have Torture and Polywog Priest. There's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't have been grouping up and pushing all these outer towers when they did, and their timing has been pretty spot on. I mentioned they can't fall into that, or they shouldn't fall into that trap where they sit back and farm too long, and they certainly didn't. They sat back, farmed, finished that round of items, and then just kept the pressure on. And so far, tdM has been really without map control for the better portion of this game.
Yeah.
And again, got to credit Clan Milk for that.
Yeah, no, that's just like getting pissed off when a team's like turtling to try to come back in a game. I mean, it's a strategy. That's what they pretty much have to do at that point. And by all means, this quote-unquote pub train strategy that you could I'd say maybe Clan Milk has taken part of. That's exactly. I mean, they built a lineup definitely around working together as a team, sticking together, being that much better when they are together. So that's how they've continued. They've progressed this game, and that's how they're going to win this game if they eventually do come out on top. We do have a big team fight coming up right here at the bottom lane, though. Hammerstorm gets got the cuff, but the Shuriken is activated. And look at the Chinner on the Tongue Tat in the background on the Bubbles. There's the Hammerstorm trying to follow it up, and Bubbles will follow. Wretched Bat Blast only hitting Cthulhu Fall with the hook him up. Minimal damage coming out. Corrupted Disciple just in the background, running away, barely still alive somehow, as Behemoth also falls. So the melee rack's cleaned up, the range rack's going down, and there you go. It's official. Clan Milk takes out Trademark Esports here in the Plantronics Quarter-Finals here in this double elimination stage. So tdM going to the semifinals, or excuse me, Clan Milk going to the semifinals, and tdM falling to the losers bracket. So, man, I mean, yeah, guaranteed. We took a poll before this matchup. Who do you think would win? At tdM, 90%, if not higher, would be the favorite. But Clan Milk showing that big victory for them here. So congrats to them.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. tdM did have a ringer, but it came down to one of these games where Clan Milk was just consistently, it felt like they were kind of consistently a step ahead. All those team fights, as we mentioned, they weren't these huge blowout team fights. It wasn't just a couple of 5-0 genocides. It was, a nice 2-for-3 exchange here. All right, a 2-for-2 exchange here, 2-for-2, and we get a tower. The pressure was unrelenting, and they played very well. So, like you said at the beginning of this, Breaky, this is a big opportunity for Clan Milk, and coming out with a win over tdM, definitely big in this tournament. Now, as we said before, this is a double elimination tournament, so tdM will have the opportunity to climb their way through the losers bracket and make it to the grand final. So it could potentially be a Clan Milk versus Trademark Esports finals for this event.
Yeah, and that's always wouldn't be too surprised and at the same time too disappointed to see that. But as we were kind of talking about, not too familiar with the other teams in this event. Saishi's won. They were the Raptor Amateur event winners. And kind of on that note, I do have the brackets up right now, and it is updated all the way to the winners finals, where it's actually going to be Clan Milk versus Saishi. And then in the losers finals, tdM, they're actually, looks like they're going to be moving on into the second round of the losers bracket. So you can find that at gamecom.plantronics.com if you are.
You might want to just drop that link into chat, Breaky.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. That's probably a safe way to do it. But anyway, so yeah, that is going to do it for our casting coverage today as far as matches go. So again, congratulations to Clan Milk. But we're going to take about an hour break here, guys, and then in about an hour, we'll be coming back and doing that podcast that we've been talking about. It's we're really excited for that. Definitely plenty to talk about. Obviously, it's been a little bit here since we've done a podcast because of content and things getting in the way here and there. But we got to talk about Dream Han. Obviously, we really haven't talked about a whole lot about that, finishing that up. But talk about Dream Han. We're going to be having some very important news that we're going to be giving out for DreamHack Summer 2012, which could include the schedule that's going to be announced in terms of what matchups are going to be happening when from all of the teams. So, and we're going to kind of do a drawing to determine how that's going to play out. So that we're going to have fun with that. And also the Honcast Top 10 Community Rankings is going to be announced. We're bringing that back finally, and we have a video feature that we got for that. So We're really excited for the podcast, guys. Again, in about an hour, we'll be back and discussing plenty competitive heroes and newers. So, well then.
Yep. But like you said, that pretty much does it for us until the podcast. So once again, thank you for joining us, guys, for some more replay casting. Certainly appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, I'm Sayori, and with me is Breaky CPK of the Honcast crew. And I think that's going to do it for us for now. So take care, guys. We'll see you in an hour.
See ya.